Well, welcome back to the Stadium of Light. It didn't go to plan for Michael Beale in his first game in charge of the first team, Danny. In fact, there was a bit of unrest around us as well throughout that second half in particular. However, I would caveat everything I've just said and say that Sunderland enjoyed, obviously, the lion's share of possession. Yes, we've been here before this season. Yeah. It didn't feel like a 3-0 drubbing, did it?
No, and it wasn't, people obviously looking at the scores coming in, I'll say Sunderland have had a tough afternoon, but if you're in here watching the game, it's a strange one really, because we didn't get battered. We said it there, we haven't sat deep, been penned into our own half for any period of the game really. They had a little spell in the first half, and then they've had a little spell on the counter-attack in the second half. Was it 5 minutes or so? Those two goals where I thought we were actually playing quite well in that second half. We were getting Jack on the ball, we were getting Patrick on the ball out wide, driving into the box, but it's just not happening for us at this moment in time where it matters in the 18-yard box.
Sunderland in the 60s again with the possession, but like I said, we've been here before, haven't we?
Well, we have, and copy and paste, doesn't it? We sound like stuck record up here. We've played well, we've had spells in the game, we're pretty on the eye, but you've got to be ruthless in football. I said it in comms there, when you're on top, especially when we're a goal down, setting off there, and you can sense it in the crowd, and they're getting up thinking, we're at it, start, good tempo to us in the second half. That's when you've got to put the ball in the back of the net.
Because it was a good start to the second half, wasn't it? Despite going behind just before half-time.
Yeah, exactly, because right on half-time you can see there, you're going a little bit deflated, thinking, they had those two efforts, didn't they, where I think Anthony Patterson made a double save earlier on. But other than that, they didn't have too much to go on, really. We had a lot of the ball. They kept giving it us back, really, trying to play out from the back. It wasn't quite working for them. But that's football. It happens. And, we're sat here, we're scratching our heads. I'm sure 30-odd thousand Sunderland fans are. But most of all, probably the Sunderland players are as well, thinking, what has happened out there? You're looking around the team. I wouldn't say there's too many, really. Sometimes when you've had a 3-0 defeat, 2 or 3 have had an absolute shocker. But you're looking around the team there. Most of the players are putting a decent showing, really. Just individual moments for the goals as well. Individual errors.
Well, you actually said in commentary how much of a good first half Luke O'Nien was having, and then he was involved, of course, in the first goal.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, but listen, he was. Yeah, he had an excellent first half, Luke, and right up until there, and he gets a little bit too tight. He gets rolled, but there's still a lot of work to go on after that.
Should we play the highlights, Danny?
Yeah,
we'll discuss
we'll see that and we'll talk over it. Yeah,
we'll find some of the moments perhaps which we're touching upon here. Chances were few and far between in the first half, but look at this one.
That's the big
probably
one.
the biggest chance of the afternoon.
The big one for ourselves. I've seen Mo Salah miss one. It's similar in the week, really. I don't know if you've seen it against West Ham.
Yeah,
Come back to him and he put it past the post. And I think it's one of those, really, you think you've scored and what's my celebration going to be? And the one thing I will say there, Abdullah Bar, just a little bit of composure.
He smashed it with his laces there, hasn't he?
It blazes it. He doesn't, he can place it either side of the goalkeeper. I know you could say maybe he can take a touch. He doesn't know if there's a defender getting back at him. But yeah, just a bit of composure, just slot it into the corner, and then we're a goal in front, aren't we? And then obviously their tails are up there, and they have these opportunities.
Great double save this.
Yeah. Especially probably say both of them really, but that second one as well comes through bodies, a bit of pace on it, doesn't it? And I think it's his right hand. We weren't sure first half. We thought it actually Ellis Sims, didn't we? When you're seeing it there, but it comes off Anthony Patterson.
It just shows how fast it comes at him here.
Yeah. So that one there, good reaction save. These are the ones that keepers work on a lot in training, isn't it? And then that one there.
Get up, save another one. Get up, save another one.
He's up, yeah. And this is a lot of the story for Anthony Patterson, really, in a way where he isn't asked too often to make that many saves throughout a game, is he really? But there, he's good concentration, he's focused there, and he's switched on, and he's making that double saving. I'm not saying keeping us in at that moment, it's at 0-0, isn't it? But we had these moments in the game as well. Where you drive and you're seeing Jack coming in off that right-hand side, and Patrick a lot of the time as well, but for some reason it's just not happening. Listen, fans will say, well, we haven't got a natural striker in the box there. But up until this stage in the season, we haven't had a natural striker scoring in those positions, have we? It's been Jack, or it's been one or two of the others, the midfielders, chipping in Joe, Dan Neil, Ekwar's got himself a couple of goals as well. All of a sudden, they're sort of drying up from these areas of the pitch. And if Jack's not scoring or creating, then who's going to be getting us these goals? So yeah, it's a bit of a head scratcher, and it's something that Michael Beale and the staff are going to try and get round. Here's the goal now, isn't it? So as we were saying about Luke, gets in there tight. He'd done really well up until that point. Handled Ellis Sims well in the first half. Distribution was excellent.
O'Hare keeps it alive.
But we still got 4 or 5 bodies in there after that. You see there, Luke there. The referee actually plays a good advantage. He could have blown up there, but O'Hare's onto it. Ekwar's got to do better. Look, put the brakes on. Don't allow him inside. I said it there. Use the byline to your advantage.
There's a bit of fortune to the goal as well.
Well, there is. Yeah, but it sort of snowballs, doesn't it? Luke's made the first error. Then Ekwar can do more. Trey, you could say, he's unlucky, isn't he? He gets the block and it comes back off him, Sakamoto, and it drops in that bottom corner. And then he has that effort, doesn't he, just after as well. I think Dan Ballard gets a little touch on it. But I say there's another one, Dan Ballard, he'd be scratching his head. He's 3 goals in the back of his net, but I think he's had a decent game, Dan Ballard, today. Defended well at times, good composure, bringing the ball out from the back as well. So it's a difficult one for him to debrief in the changing rooms, really. But credit to Coventry, their game plan. I'm sure, we'll hear Mark Robbins come out and say, we know about Sunderland, and other teams are going to say it now as well. You go up to the Stadium of Light, and you're going to expect them to have more of the ball on us. They've got some good technical players who get them up the pitch and can cause problems, but you're going to get opportunities on the counter-attack. They overcommit bodies, they back themselves to score, and if they don't, then you're going to get opportunities on the counter-attack. And I think that looks at that when you look at his selection today, where he made a couple of changes, bringing Wright into the team, who obviously played his part in the first goal, didn't he? O'Hare coming to the team, he's got them the second goal. And they've got players on the counter-attack who can hurt you. Sakamoto never stopped running as well. And these moments, look, so there, ball's out to Jack, just gets away from him slightly. He's had the one just a moment ago where we worked it lovely across the pitch, set it for him, and what he's looking for, he's trying to pass it into that bottom right corner, but just doesn't set it out enough, doesn't get enough on it. And it's a comfortable one for the keeper. It was a strange one, wasn't it, Patrick? Again, I thought Patrick was excellent driving, chops inside. Look, leaves the leg there for him, doesn't he? He's almost like, and then Patrick's, does he make the contact? There was one a couple of weeks ago here at the Stadium of Light, wasn't there, which was similar.
But at this period of time, Sunderland are on top again, aren't
they? They are, and you're thinking, we're going to get the goal. Now look at us again, here. See there, touch gets away, and then Job gets the strike away, doesn't it? And I think it's Thomas there, gets his body in the way. So there's a little bit of frustration that we're not at least working the goalkeeper in these situations, but we're getting into the area, and you're thinking, right, the goal's on its way now, the goal, it's going to come now. We're 4v3, we're 3v2. A little bit of composure, and I'm sure this is the stuff that the boys work on in training regularly with Jack and Patrick. Situations you work on final third, and they'll probably put the ball in the back of the net 8 times out of 10 in training, but it's not happening on a match day at this moment in time.
No, you still feel it was coming at that point, but then there was this moment in the second half, and there's about 4 minutes between the goals. This is the second goal for Coventry, Danny. Yeah,
it is. Again, Dan Ballard's come out, he's won the first header, so that opens up a little bit of a slot. We'll see it back now in the build-up. And then the ball gets fed out to that left-hand side, and I thought O'Hare was quite bright for them when they got the ball up the pitch. So you see it now, and unfortunately I'm going to look at Ekwar again. He gets back in there, look, breaks on, and it's just too easy, isn't it? You've got to sense the danger at that moment in time. He knows Dan Ballard's come out of his slot.
He still has 3 Sunderland players in front of him here.
Well, he does, but look at us. We've got 7 bodies in the box, probably against their 3 or 4. So it's sensing danger, it's locking on. We've got a young squad, but they're old enough to know now, right, ball's gone out wide. They know Dan Ballard's come out and he's won the first header, so he's come out of his slot. Who's filling in for him and who's taking care of the danger, but nobody does.
4 minutes later, Alex Palmer off the bench.
The nail in the coffin, wasn't it? And then obviously, you're looking at Anthony Patterson. He knows himself, doesn't he? Doesn't need telling him there. It's a weak cross, isn't it? And then just into his hands there. And Palmer, he's the one who's actually crossed it, isn't he? Just carries on his run there, and it's just dropped into his path. Nice for him. And he tucks it away into pretty much an empty net, doesn't he? So yeah, that's the game done then. Still a good bit of time left, wasn't there? 20 minutes or so. But
70th minute of the third goal.
I'm not saying the lads down tools after that. We still had opportunities to keep going. Jack always keeps going, and it's this one into O'Sheesh, isn't it?
Yeah.
And again, they work it well.
Fluffs his lines.
Jack comes in off the left.
But to be fair to O'Sheash, when he comes on, he always has efforts on goal.
Involvement.
This is probably his worst one, but he does get a couple on target later
he had a
on,
couple
and he's
over
involved.
The far side, didn't he? Yeah.
He's always positive, isn't he?
Yeah, and it helps him in a way. It sits up there, it pops up for him to swivel and hit it on the half volley, but just cuts across it on his weaker left foot, and doesn't get it on target, and then seal it with a header at the end. So we had plenty of opportunities. What do we have? 60% of the ball, you said, didn't we? But fans will say, well, it's all well and good having possession. It's what we're doing with it at this moment in time. So something that Michael Beale and the staff have got to try and crack and get us putting the ball in the back of the net.
Well, that's right. And when a manager comes in, or first team coach comes in, he's got to try and get the undecided supporters behind him.
Yeah.
It's difficult in the first place, but then to build on a defeat, I guess the good thing is that a game comes around quickly on Boxing Day to put things right.
Well, I think that's the big plus for him. Yeah, he'll say that straight away in there. Like, you'll debrief it. They'll maybe get him in tomorrow. They'll have a look at it. Maybe go over the goals again. The lads know as well, we're not playing kids football. They know when they've made mistakes there, what they could have done better. It's not nice. You're sitting in the meeting room with the 20, 30 members of the squad, and it's coming on the screen, and you think, yeah, listen, lads, I've made a mistake there. But decisions you make in a game, it happens quick. And Luke there just thinks, I can nick it, but he's a big, strong lad, isn't he?
Yeah.
Right, and he rolled him there. You know, the third one, Pato's made a mistake. He knows it. He doesn't need anybody to tell him, but they've got to try and put it behind him now. And obviously, Michael Beale, not ideal. He's come in. He wants to get off to a winning start. It's a heavy defeat, but he'll take a lot of positives from that. Some of the football we still played in that game was excellent. Sunderland fans won't want to hear me saying it.
I know. We're in a weird position. We've got to come out and front this up, don't we? And let's be honest, there was a lot of unrest around us this afternoon.
Yeah, there was,
But we've got the stats in front of us. We can pull out positives from the game because, you know, well, what's the alternative at the end of the day? You know, and we've got to go into another game on Boxing Day. Yeah,
well, key moments in the game, that's it, isn't it? Business end of the pitch, I say 18-yard box, you know, between I think something Lee Johnson said between the 18-yard boxes, we were the better team, and we were again today. But it's getting into that final third, isn't it? It's putting the ball in the back of the net. You keep saying it, and if you're not doing that, the opposition are staying in there. They're thinking, you know what, we're getting battered in terms of possession. We can't quite get out or hold the ball up. But at some stage, we're going to have opportunities. Sunderland are going to go for the win. They're over-committing bodies. The fullbacks love to bomb on. And then we're going to get those little pockets to drive and get at them. And that's been the case again today.
Speaking of fullbacks, a word on Niall Huggins. He departed the game, and it was at the point of the game where the crowd were very quiet anyway. It kind of sucked any life remaining out of the atmosphere here, didn't it? Because it looked like a very serious injury for Niall Huggins. He's obviously had his fair share of them in the past. He's been one of Sunderland's best players this season, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. I feel massively for Niall as well. I had a few chats with him last season. You could see he was low, he was down. He wanted to be out there. I think he's a great lad. You know, we've spoke to him on pre-match before, haven't we, as well. Loves his football, and he's had his big opportunity this season, and he's taken it. He's been excellent for us, whether he plays right back or left back. Loves getting forward. You know, the goal he scored a couple of months back was excellent, wasn't he? He just went on a mazy run and smashed it in the top corner there. And he had looked at, we thought, was it a bit of a clash of knees at first? I think it was De Silva. He sort of brushes him, and then it just buckles under him, his left knee. So it doesn't look good for him, but we wish him well, and we want to see a fit Niall Huggins back out there as soon as we can.
We certainly do. Let's have a look at your thoughts then from around the world on hashtag Ask Danny, and I think it must be Nathan who's been in touch. He says, I think it's time to start experimenting with a striker because we are missing that presence up front. Well, we found Abdullah Bar through the middle, and he had the big chance, didn't he, in the first half. Some of his hold-up play was all right in times. He was coming back, trying to win the ball back as well, but I mean, he would probably say himself, he's not an out-and-out striker, is he?
No, he's not, no. And we thought Job would have been the one playing a little bit higher, but I think Abdullah was more, in the first half especially, playing higher. It's not his game, you know, back to play. He's not the biggest, no physicality there, really. I thought he was better in the second half. He had a few driving runs, didn't he, in and around the edge of the 18-yard box. But yeah, he's asking the question in terms of experimenting. Well, we've tried a lot of the strikers, haven't we? They've all had a little stint in the team, you know. We said it before, Burstow, Mayenda's had a couple of games up there. Rusin again on the bench. He's not got any game time this afternoon. Scored in midweek as well. So it's a difficult one, and it's obviously a question that's going to keep getting asked when we're not scoring goals. I think, I'm not sure, is it 3 or 4 we've not scored in at home? You know, Middlesbrough, Cardiff off the top of my head. Not sure, obviously, again this afternoon. So there's been games where we haven't scored goals at home. And when you look at the bench there and you've got strikers on the bench, naturally fans are going to say, well, what's happening here? We're not playing a natural number 9, but we've got a packed bench with strikers brought to the club and they're not getting any game time, really. Meander's had a bit of a run out again this afternoon. He had that one chance in the first half, didn't he, where he didn't quite catch it on his right foot. But I'm sure, again, it's something Michael Beale's going to look at, and then whether we get to January and they're going to address it and think, do we need to go and get somebody in and look to kick on? Because all the foundations are there, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a frustrating thing for the fans, really.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Sunderland have got some incredibly talented players all around the pitch. They just haven't found that man to take the shirt up top yet.
Yeah.
You know, before today, we were just a few points outside the playoff positions. It's almost there.
It's almost there. Yeah, I say foundations are there, but it's having that number 9. Not just the goals, probably even for sometimes for the likes of Patrick and Jack when they come in off that side, just to lend it to the striker. I think Abdullah actually done it quite well. Second half, didn't he? Patrick come in off there, set it back to him. Just those little wall passes, just the know-how and the nous of a natural striker. But we're looking at the opposition. You know, they've got Godden coming off the bench, who's got himself 6 goals this season. Wright's got 6 goals. Ellis Sims has got himself a couple of goals. They've got options coming off the bench. Other teams will be looking. You know, Casey Palmer coming off the bench as well, getting himself another goal as well.
O'Hare's now got 3 or 4 goals this season as well.
So it's frustrating that the club will be frustrated themselves as well. You know, we've got these options there, and I've seen it there. And we said in the pre-match show where it's up to these lads as well. They've all had a little go in the team. They've got to step up now, and don't sulk around the place. If you haven't got on today, you've got to get back to it tomorrow. So the ones who haven't got on, they'll do a little bit more training. The other lads will probably do recovery. But they've got it, whether it's in the five-a-sides, in the little shooting drills they do out on the training pitch, set the standards and say to Michael Beale and the staff, right, I'm going to take this number 9 shirt by the scruff of the neck. I want to be the one getting it for the whole game. And then after that, I'm going to go and get myself a goal and kick on. And then you haven't got to worry about going and bringing in another striker in January.
Yeah. Okay, then let's have a look at another thought here on hashtag Ask Danny from Peter, who says, Danny, what was Abdullah doing wrong to not finish that chance?
Keyboard stuck there.
Yeah.
Well, what was he doing? We've talked about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what he's done.
A little bit of composure, really. I think he's a little bit of rush of blood. I don't think he's... In the game, I don't think he was quite at his best today. He had a couple of runs where he maybe gone into bodies, and then as it comes back off the keeper, he's probably got a little bit more time than he thinks. Does he think a defender's getting back at him? And just a softer side foot, really, isn't it? See there, you can see quite clearly, defender this side's playing him on. They think they're 1-0 down Coventry there, don't they? Keeper's pretty much middle of the goal on his knees. And you see here now, as it comes back to him there.
It's a weird save, isn't it, by the goalkeeper?
Yeah, see, he's got both feet off the floor as he hits it, and I think just as it's dropping there, just a little bit of composure and just a little firm side foot pass into either of the bottom corners, really. Again, I always say it to you, don't I? I was a centre-back. I wasn't really in that position too many times in my career.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, you ask most strikers there, they'll say to you, just settle yourself down and concentrate on it, knee over the ball.
Bit composure.
Yeah, bit of composure, pass it to either corner.
Let's have a look. Sorry, Danny.
No.
Let's have a look at another thought then here on hashtag Ask Danny. I think this will be the last one we've got time for from Andrew. Terrible result today, so not a lot to ask. Instead, please can you wish Emily and Luke a Merry Christmas? And remember, Santa is red and white, so hopefully he will deliver a good result for Boxing Day. Well,
so happy
Christmas to Emily and
Luke. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we go again on Boxing Day, and that's the kind of another positive you can take. Get out your system, play again.
Yeah.
And Michael Beale gets another bash then, doesn't he? Let's have a look at the other scores before we go anywhere around the championship this afternoon. There was a big result earlier on. Leeds thumping Ipswich Town by 4-0. So Leeds really competing for that automatic place at the top end of the table now and return to the Premier League. Blackburn Rovers 1, Watford 2, Leicester City 3, Rotherham United 0, Middlesbrough 1, West Brom 0, Norwich 2, Huddersfield Town 0, Plymouth and Birmingham finished 3-3, Queen's Park Rangers 0, Southampton 1, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Cardiff City 2, Stoke and Millwall finished 0-0. What does that do to the table? Where does Sunderland find themselves after the final home game of 2023? Down in 9th, Danny.
Yeah, dropped a couple of places, haven't we? Yeah, so that's what we say. I mean, how tight it is there, in and around us. Teams taking advantage. Could have gone 6th, wasn't to be. So yeah, dust ourselves off. Obviously, the goal difference has taken a bit of a hit as well, hasn't it? So yeah, but better way to sort of react really and go and take points off a side who were sat in the playoffs, isn't it? We've done it already with, well, what, 1, 2, 3, 3 of those sides sat above us, third to 5th, haven't we? So
with a good result and good goal scoring, we could swap places with Hull City, couldn't we? On Boxing Day. All right then, that'll probably draw us to an end of the programme today. It hasn't been the start Michael Beale wanted, but we do go again on Boxing Day. It's another 3 p.m. kickoff, can you believe it or not? It's a 3 p.m. kickoff down at the MKM Stadium, Sunderland versus Hull City, which means we'll be on air from 2:15. From everyone here, the team at SAFC Live, we'd like to wish you a very Merry Christmas, and I'm sure everyone at Sunderland Football Club, Sunderland Association Football Club, would like to wish you a Merry Christmas as well. We'll see you on Boxing Day.